So you can mess with the blending options. You can multiply it. Again, here you can do linear dodge, etc., etc. You can mess the opacity of the actual, you can see up here, the actual effect. You can mess with the scale of this whole thing. It's totally your call. You can do the angle. You can do a radial. Totally depends on how creative you get with this thing. So I'm going to leave it at linear. I'm going to stop it at there. So after all that stuff set up, so there's my kind of sparkle and shine stuff. What I can do is I can go in and I'm going to actually group this. I'm going to call this my sparkles. And I'm going to duplicate this group because I want to blur this a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to merge that group together. Then I'm going to go in here to my blurs. I'll put a motion blur on it. And you see I can blur this thing. It's showing me this stuff. I can put a blur on it like so. I'll duplicate this just so I can give you a couple different options. You blur, do a motion blur, and we'll kind of make it go crazy, like sparkly stuff going on, and I'm just going to kill that. So now you see what we have is this really nice kind of fuzzy effect. I can move this around. The actual blurs itself. Or I could turn this layer on, for example, and I can go into blur again. We're going to do a, I believe it's a radial blur. The radial blur itself, it spins it around. If you go to zoom instead, you can zoom this in, you'll see what's going to happen, and this gets pretty cool. It all depends on what kind of effect you want to give. So now you're drawing everything to a focal point. So if I turn these two on, now you got some kind of real messed up basically they're just effects. That's really all they are. So it all depends on kind of how much stuff you want to throw in. Be careful, don't throw too much in. In fact, I'm going to take these two, I'm going to group them, and I'm just going to bring the opacity of these down just a bit. So once you have this stuff set up and figured out however you want, I mean, you can apply all kinds of stuff to this. I can go to my sparkles, for example. I can apply another effect to it, like, for example, an outer glow, which is going to give me all kinds of weird stuff. Increase the size. I mean, just play with these things and you'll kind of figure them out. I mean, just and of course each of these really behaves differently on whatever colors are applied to it. So if I go in here and I apply solid yellow, it's going to start to behave differently. You can apply a gradient to it as well. It really all depends on how creative you want to get with this thing. So once that's set up, we got to reflect this girl, her face, inside the face of the view screen here. So we're going to go back to the phone, and all I'm going to do is just draw a shape with my pen tool. I use the pen tool a lot. So once we have our kind of shape figured out, you can also change the color of this by, shape layers too. We're going to take the girl and we're going to duplicate her, and then we're going to flip her, just like so. I'm going to go OK. Now what we're going to do is take this shape layer. I'm going to turn this guy off, and then we're going to go into here and we're going to make a mask. Now you can't see anything yet because of course this girl is below the phone and everything else. So we've got to take her and move her right up above the phone. There you go. Now the reason why you can't see anything